Tony, commiserations firstly. It's a 3-1 defeat in the second round of the FA Cup at home to Macclesfield. I'm sure the players are absolutely devastated in there. How did you see how the game went this afternoon?
Yeah, there's a lot of emotional lads in the dressing room at full time, and I don't know if the realisation of so close yet so far, but with regards to the game, the preparation that we've put in this week, we haven't left any stone unturned. I mean, Henry Ochieng done something for the group. Where he spoke to our family members, and we've all had that message of positivity, and that really struck a chord, and the lads were motivated and they were ready. Everyone knew the starting 11, everyone knew what the jobs were, what was expected of them, and because of what's at stake, I appreciate he told the lads just go and play the game, but everyone knows what's at stake, potentially getting through to the third round, what that could be life-changing, not only for an individual but for the club itself. So it's massive stakes, and I felt that we went into the game and we started okay. You know, it was a good match. Felt that we'd suss Macclesfield out early doors, and it was quite an even contest. First off, I felt we probably sort of edged it, although they did grow stronger as the game went on, and they finished the half quite strongly, but would have taken 0-0. And the sort of messaging at half-time was to kind of let the shackles off. I don't know if we was like playing within ourselves, because obviously you've got the TV cameras here, so a little bit different to what we're used to as a group. But you just kind of just go and give it a go, you know, that's what we're about. Go and be on the front foot, go and get in people's faces, and when an opportunity comes, go and take it. And I don't know if we was waiting for the perfect opportunity because of the stage and platform that we was on. But then start of the second half, I have to give credit to Macclesfield. I thought they started like a house on fire, and they caused us numerous problems. And then in around 55 minutes, what didn't help our sort of preparation was that both our fullbacks, we've had to make those changes. They're enforced changes, and that's no disservice to the lads that have come off. It is what it is. So we've had to sort of rejig the group, and then Macclesfield get a entry into the box, and the referees gave a penalty. And then when you look back on it, Kiki's won the ball. After the game, I spoke to the ref, and I'm trying not to be too emotional myself, and he's just said to me, if I've got it wrong, I'll be gutted. And I think the disappointing thing about that comment is, if you're not 100% sure with what's at stake, how can you make that decision? But I'm not hiding behind that as an excuse. And then we've grown into the game ourselves, even with 10 men. And then fortunately, we got a penalty of our own, and Victor stepped up, and there was a bit of a delay, and you can imagine the pressure that was going through his head, and he kept his composure and scored. So then you think, right, can we go and nick it in the 90 minutes? And then a few balls flashed across the box, and then there was one where Victor just couldn't get on the end of it, and you're just like, and then we go into extra time, and we set up in a shape just to try and frustrate them, and the lads hit the ball from 25 yards straight into the top corner. I don't believe he scores a goal like that again, you know, but we can't go over that too much, and that's what happens in the cup. And then look, the lads have give everything towards the end, and keepers made like saves, and balls flashed across the goal. You get goalmouth scrambles, and then they hit us on the counter, and unfortunately it just weren't meant to be, and it weren't our day. And look, this is the beauty of this game. You get winners and you get losers, and it weren't our time. And I think probably why we feel a little bit gutted is we really thought it was going to be our day today, but it weren't meant to be.
Yeah, let's rewind back a little bit then. As you mentioned, the first half was fairly even, and that sort of period, 10 minutes after half-time, you could just see that Tarek and Tyrese were beginning to tire a little, because they had a lot of opportunities, didn't they, where Adam actually made some really good saves at one point. Do you feel perhaps looking back in hindsight, potentially if they'd come off a little bit earlier, we'd have been able to reshuffle a little bit more?
Maybe, but as you say, that's the beauty of hindsight, that look, both lads didn't know they was going to pull up. Roffey picked up an injury a couple of weeks ago, so it was difficult. Obviously, we've got the fullback option in Peter or Harvey, but I wouldn't say that because it's just unfortunate set of circumstances. I mean, Macclesfield could turn around if the result had gone different. One of their lads has picked up a nasty injury, and last 10 minutes of the game is 10 v 10 through no fault of their own. So you can't legislate when lads like pull up with certain injuries. And obviously it was Tariq's first full game for a number of weeks, having come back from like a torn hamstring. So we kind of knew that he wouldn't last the full 90 and had preparations in place for that. But as I say, you can't legislate for both of them kind of pulling up at the same time. But I don't think that incident on its own was the catalyst for the result today.
And just on our penalty as well then, when you see that's one happen, I tend to think that referees don't tend to give them. I think there was a little bit of surprise actually that the penalty had been awarded. It did seem a little bit soft, but what was your view of it?
I don't know. Sometimes they say in football that things have a way of evening themselves out. And look, referees are impartial and they give decisions as they see them. If it was given against us, I probably would have been quite animated. But look, we'll take whatever we're given. And as much as that I felt they were fortunate to get a penalty, some people will say that we were fortunate to get a penalty, but the referee gives the decision as he sees it. So, yeah, it is what it is.
And it was some effort, wasn't it, for the lads to have played, I'm trying to think back now, probably over an hour of football with 10 men. Despite the defeat, how well did they do despite losing a man? Yeah,
I think, look, as I said earlier, we're all a little bit emotional, and I think once we take stock and have a bit of reflection, you've got to think that it's been an unbelievable cup run. You have to remember the amount of injuries we've had earlier in the rounds, how depleted we were at Welling, sending offs at Bedfont, depleted against Enfield, and then kind of coming back into it against Altrincham. And we kind of felt that we more or less got the lads back now, and you kind of wish, if we'd have had another week potentially for them to sort of bed their fitness levels, who knows. But look, there's no point in dwelling. What's happened has happened now. If we can climb the table, which is our main focus now, obviously we've got the Berks and Bucks Cup as well, so if we can give a good account of ourselves in there, and then at the end of the season we look back, and if we can have a mid-table finish, second round of the FA Cup, and whatever happens in the Berks and Beds Cup, I don't think like we can say that would be a bad season, but the main focus and priority now will be back to the league campaign.
Yeah, just finally, just to end things off with a little preview towards Tuesday. It is a very quick turnaround, obviously. I'm assuming there will be a lot of tired legs out there. Would expect to see a rotated side on Tuesday.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Obviously, Scotty and myself haven't had the chance to have that conversation yet. We'll have to see how many walking wounded we have, but we had the benefit or luxury of having 9 substitutes named today, and unfortunately for 1 or 2 of the other lads not being involved in the squad. So we've got plenty of players available to select from, and I imagine there'll be 1 or 2 changes as part of that rotation.
Thanks for your time, Tony, and commiserations today on
Cheers.
The FA Cup exit, and good luck for Tuesday.
No, thank you, Con. And just to finish off, I know Scotty normally does that. We have to give thanks to the incredible support we received today. To have 2,500 at Arbour Park, the place was rocking. We're just gutted for them that we couldn't just give them that magical trip away potentially, but the support, as always, has been fantastic, and just wanted to put that on record, so thank you.